created. And that is from Joel Goldsmith's The Infinite Way, one of my favorite texts. A prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of the one praying along a definite line of meditation that is for a specific purpose. And we know that that is from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. Holmes writes, communication with God brings harmony into our lives and affairs, establishes the law of health and prosperity, and make us a light to all who cross our pathway. Meditation is a quieting of our mind where only peace, harmony, beauty, and joy can reside. It is often a time where ideas flow, answers to our questions may be found, and special gifts are given, waiting to be received. Let's practice meditation daily. Begin with just 10 minutes a day and set the time each day. Be still and allow the silence of infinite possibilities to sweep over you. It is easiest to focus on an object. A flower works best for me. Be still and become part of the flower. See yourself in the bloom. Practice. This is just a beginning. Prayer is a focused contemplation on what we want to experience. In prayer, we bring about an activity in our mind that we understand to be in the mind of God, and therefore must develop in a response and demonstration. We acquire a knowing within that our highest good is becoming a reality. When you are troubled by something, think of the opposite. Fear, if you feel fear, think of courage. Limitation, think of unlimited power, and so on. If it is a desire for a loving relationship, affirm the beauty and joy in yourself, for who you are attracts your same likeness. Always seek the end result of your desire, and yet be open to the limitless possibilities. If your desire is sincere and the greatest good for you and harms no one, listen for your guidance. The law of nature is waiting for you to command, to act. So our affirmation for today. I am so grateful for this day. I attract into my life all of the wonders of love, joy, beauty, and kindness. Let me read it again and we say it together. I am so grateful for this day.
I am so grateful for this day.
I attract into my life all of the wonders of love, joy, beauty, and kindness.
All of the wonders of love, joy, beauty, and kindness.
And so it is. Now we are going to do the blessing of the children. Yes, Abigail, okay. Just look at another one. So, Abby's going to light our candle this morning. Yes, you got it. Yeah, you just, you mind.
Morning. I light this candle on behalf of all the children of the world.
So let us
So
just,
let's behold the Christ in them.
and so it is.
so
So
it
we just repeat the blessing on page 2. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. And we see you as shining lights onto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is. And so now we're going to have our mission song. We used to stand for a mission song. I think we should do that again so people can dance to it. So now I'm going to ask you to join me in the prayer of our center. And stand this time. Yes. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God the honor and glory forever. And so it is. You may be seated. So now it's time for our announcements. Do we have any first-time guests worshiping with us in person on this beautiful morning? Please stand so that our usher can place a sticker over your heart. Auntie Tilly and Jean, you are not new people. I was saying a new person this morning. And if you are a first-timer online, welcome to our hearts. We behold the Christ in you. Just let us behold the Christ in everyone in the sanctuary this morning. So our floral arrangement this morning was created by Mrs. Connie Nugent with input from our floral angels. Thank you, Connie. You can refer to the flyer in your programs for the details of the significant events that are upcoming. So on Tuesday, we have spiritual mind healing service. And our service this Tuesday is with practitioner Carol Campbell. You know, she told me what she'll be talking about, but I don't quite remember. Rock and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Yeah, that's what she. Shake, rattle, and roll. That must be interesting. So please join us on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Now we surround with love the family of our beloved Corinne Kidu. And the celebration of her life will be held on Saturday, October 7th, at the Church of Ascension, Muna Heights, at 11 a.m. Also, the Thanksgiving service for Mrs. May Pollock, that is Eddie's mother, is at Providence Methodist Church, Ligony, on Wednesday, September 27th, at 11 a.m. Now, the Thanksgiving service for Courtney, our beloved practitioner Courtney, we'll celebrate his life on Friday, September 29th at 11 a.m. So please make a note of that. Now, our masterclass 2023 will be at Paradise Cove on the weekend of October 27th to 29th. For this spiritual experience, come and talk to us about how you can find yourself at Paradise Cove in Runaway Bay, St. Anne. The cost is US $465 per person for double occupancy and $678 US for single occupancy, or you can pay the equivalent in Jamaican dollars. Now the transportation, work materials, and the work materials do not include the text, so you'll have to get the text some other way. And all other gratuities at the all-inclusive resort are included. So please go to the office, make your deposit, and set up a timely payment arrangement. The last payment is due on October 6th. Our speaker is Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, the world-renowned author. And the themes are beautifully inspired, and that is creating a life of abundance filled with purpose and meaning. So come, play, awaken, deepen, grow, and thrive. Now we have classes, right? And Reverend Michelle begins our face-to-face class on Thursday, October 5th at 11:30 a.m. The name of the class is You Are Born Rich. It is a book, study and transformational money experiment for 10 sessions. So please register through the flyer or call the office. Now, this evening, we'll have poetry, prose, and rhythms. The 7th in the series of poetry, prose, and rhythms in the garden, and it is now playing. Peace, love, and youth in the garden. So let us fill the garden, but the garden is going to be in the sanctuary. We're bringing the garden into the sanctuary this evening at 5 p.m. as we enjoy Dr. Michael Abrams playing with words, Miss Emily Elliott playing with strings, Mr. Sebastian Miller and friends playing music down the ages, and the Temple Youth playing with fashion. That should be interesting. Get your tickets, and there are 2,000 for adults and 1,000 for youth. Oh, you know the youth, Jennifer. Proceeds are in aid of acquiring musical instruments for the youth ministry and enhancing the ambience of our meditation garden. Together we'll make this venture a success. So get your tickets right now or after the service. Now, prayer support. We continue to respond to all your requests for prayer. A practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our Sunday service. Practitioner Tamu Davidson is on duty today, and the number to call is 876-289-0907. If you want to speak to a practitioner, call 876-289-0907 anytime from 8 a.m. to midnight. Mondays to Friday. Pastoral counseling is available. Please call the office for any appointment. Donation, tithes, offering. And we thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. Now, if you wish to support our ministry financially, kindly visit our donate page at donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has our banking details. Thank you, as together we support a world that works for everyone. And that concludes our announcements. So we're now going to sing our praise song, Opening Up to the Good. And it's on page 3 in the program. And are on the screen for our congregants online. Please stand. You may be seated. As you join me in a meditation of light this morning. So we recognize the one light. That light that is wisdom. That light that is clarity. That light which see clearly in all situations, in all circumstances. That light that sees God in everything. So in this awareness now, we know that we are the light. We are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. So in this consciousness now, let us sing, God is light.
God is light, that light surrounds me. In that light, I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Light is mine, and all is well. God is light, pure light. God is light, sweet light. That light is mine, mine, and all is well.
So in this light, we see the peace that is God. And we know that when anything unlike peace appears, we just affirm and know the truth. There is only peace, and anything else is dissolved into the nothingness from which it came. So we go within to that place of peace. Words sometimes fail us, but deep inside, we know there is peace, the peace of God. And we just allow that peace that just asks us to be still and know. So in this consciousness of peace, we now sing, God is peace.
God is peace, that peace surrounds me. In that peace, I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Peace is mine, and all is well. God is peace, pure peace. God is peace, sweet peace. That peace is mine, mine, and all is well.
So in this place of peace, we feel and we know the givingness of spirit of itself as love. The love that is kind. The love that knows no other. The love that is compassion. The love that is always present. The love that gives itself as sacred service. The love which heals all that requires to be healed in our world of affairs. So we just let this consciousness fills our heart, permeate all spaces as we recognize the one love and we feel all right because everything is all right. It is love. It is good. So in this consciousness, let us now sing, God is love.
God is love, that love surrounds me. In that love, I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Love is mine, and all is well. God is love, pure love. God is love, sweet love. That love is
Let us just take a breath. Inhale and exhale. As we are open and receptive to these affirmations. And as you bring your awareness back into the sanctuary, or wherever you are, hearing my voice, let's bring your awareness back to where you are right now. And now we're going to stand in our power this morning. And we sing our first hymn, Why? It's one of my favorite hymns. You may be seated. And now it's time for our encouragement this morning. And again, I'm sharing the stage with my 40th sister, Jennifer. So you know, Jennifer always keeps it real. You know, she's always straight to the point. And she's grounded in metaphysics. And we know that this will come through clearly in our presentation this morning. Practitioner Jennifer Livingston, Livy Jen.
Thank you, Vance. Good morning, friends. Let me add my own words of welcome to all of you and those of us tuned in onto this service on our love stream this morning. I want to thank Vance for setting the tone for this morning's service with those beautiful meditations of love and peace and, of course, and light. And so it is always my pleasure to share with you from the podium in whatever capacity I'm assigned to do. And so this morning, I'd like to begin with a story. And it's one that some of you may have heard before, if not all of you. But it's worth repeating, so here goes. A very religious man was once caught in rising flood waters. So he climbed onto the roof of his house and trusted God to rescue him. A neighbor came by in a canoe and said, "The waters will soon rise above your house. Hop in and we'll paddle to safety." "No thanks," said the religious man. "I have prayed to God and I am sure that he will save me." A short time later, the police came by in a boat. The waters will soon be above your house. Hop in, and we'll take you to safety." "No thanks," replied the religious man. "I have prayed to God, and I'm sure he will save me." A little time later, a rescue services helicopter hovered overhead, let down a rope ladder, and said, "The waters will soon be above your house. Climb the ladder, and we will take you to safety." "No thanks," said the religious man. "I have prayed to God, and I am sure he will save me." All this time, the flood waters kept rising, and pretty soon, the religious man drowned. When he arrived at heaven, he demanded an audience with God. Ushered into God's throne room, he said, "Lord, why am I here in heaven? I prayed for you to save me. I trusted you to save me from the flood." God replied, "Yes, you did, my child, and I sent you a canoe, a boat, and a helicopter, but you never got in any one of these transports." It says the source is unknown. My friends, the story, though humorous, makes the point about prayers and the answer to our prayers. And so my question for you this morning is, are your prayers being answered? Well, friends, when you look at the situations in your life today, can you give a resounding yes to this question? I hear some muttering, I'm not sure. But perhaps not in all circumstances, you might say. And if not, then why not? You see, Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching in the Science of Mind and Spirituality, in his book entitled Prayer, How to Pray Effectively from the Science of Mind, states, "Prayer is not an act of overcoming God's reluctance, but should be an acceptance of his highest willingness." He reminds us that there is a place in us which lies open to the infinite, but when the Spirit brings its gift by pouring itself through us, it can only give to us what we take. Dr. Holmes also goes on to state, God is a universal presence, an impersonal observer, a divine and impartial giver, forever pouring itself into its creation. So you see, friends, for us then, prayer is crucial. For in our communion with the infinite, there's a vitality which is creative and which delivers to us our highest good. And further in this book on prayer, it says, this conscious commingling of our thoughts with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. And for most of us, if not all of us who believe in God or a higher power, we believe in prayer. But we must bear in mind that the prayers which are effective, no matter whose prayers they may be, they are effective because they embody certain universal principles which, when understood, can be consciously used. Here at the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, as with all centers for spiritual living worldwide, we teach spiritual mind healing treatment or affirmative prayer. And so if you're here, there are no first-timers here, so we all know about affirmative prayer, but it's a good time to remind you of the steps. If you're using the 5-step process, you know we go through the stages of recognition, unification, reaffirmation, release, thanksgiving and release. And so, my friends, if you want to be reminded of how to use these spiritual steps, please join one of our classes. There are several going on this month and upcoming, and you can learn even just by listening as to how to do an affirmative prayer. But that's enough of the free advertisement for this morning on classes. Let's get back to the scheduled program. You see, when we pray right, we set the law of the Spirit of life in motion for us. So if we want to ensure that our prayers are being answered, then in giving a spiritual mind healing treatment, whilst it is important that the words spoken are life-affirming, it is the feeling behind these words that creates the effect. In our Science of Mind textbook, it states, our mental acceptance should be filled with conviction, warmth, color, and imagination. The creative power responds to feeling more quickly than to any other mental attitude. Therefore, we should try to feel the reality of what we are saying when we give a treatment. The reality is felt as we become more and more convinced that Spirit responds to us. And in my own experience, I always share from the podium, I share my experiences. I have had many situations where I've had answers to prayer. But there's one that stood out for me that I want to share with you. And it was a time that I needed to travel to Canada to attend the Thanksgiving service of my brother-in-law. I had only a 2-week window in which to apply for a visa. And this involved getting all the necessary documentation ready, completing a 20-page application, then get back the passport in time to travel, and that time you might say, I was traveling extensively for work, so you would believe that it would have been a breeze, right? But, there are no guarantees. And so, I hadn't traveled to Canada in over 20 years. There wasn't really any need. My sister would come often to visit our mom. So why renew a visa that you're not using anyhow? That was my thing. But, having done the treatment work, and in addition, I asked for prayer support from a practitioner, I decided that I was applying for this visa, completed my application, wrote my own invitation letter because I said I needed one, and my sister was in no state to give me an invitation letter, considering it's her husband who had passed. And so I submitted my application, and I was even more convinced because, I booked the ticket because I am sure I'm having this visa. And yes, I submitted my itinerary with the application. 4 days after submission, I received an email that I should come and pick up my passport. And I arrived the very next morning at that visa application center. They call it the VAC. And 7:30 that morning, because I had an all-day meeting that was going to go until 6, and the visa application center closes at 4:30. So I was not missing out. And so I went in, they called my name, and I was handed an envelope, sealed envelope, heightening the anticipation. So you want to see me. I walked out of there confident, calmly, and sat in the car, knees shaking, but you can't make everybody know because you know you're on the line. My flight was that Friday, and this is Tuesday. Yes, and I said a prayer before opening the envelope. And when I opened it, there was the visa. And my friends, not only had they given me the one entry, because all I needed was to get there. They gave me 10 years. I'm like, okay, don't have to see you for some time to come. But what I'm sharing with you is that the answer to the prayer was because of the focus and the intent that I had given to this one singular mission, that of going to Canada. And I kept my focus on that. And I got the answer to my prayers. My friends, in the book Love and Law, also written by Dr. Holmes, he shares, a treatment is the process of convincing yourself of the truth of what you say. It is nothing else. When you are self-convinced, then you have set forth into mind the power that does everything. So prayer is also a spiritual process. We are told this in John 4 and verse 24 of the King James Version. God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. This is our true spiritual power. knowing that it is the Father within that doeth the work. When we become conscious of our oneness with universal good, a belief in lack and limitation no longer exists for us. And of course, we no longer ask amiss in our prayers. That is, supplicating as though God would not bestow our good upon us, or begging as though God were withholding anything from us. Friends, Jesus the Master Teacher states, "If ye abide in me and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you." And that's from John 15 and verse 7. And this is one of the important rules that's governing prayer, that of abiding in the one. It means that we should have no consciousness separate from God consciousness. In other words, there should be nothing in our thoughts which denies the presence and power of God. As such, let us repeat this affirmation together. I will read it once, and then I'll break it down in parts. And it goes like this. I am one with the presence and power of God, always receiving the warmth of divine love and the guidance of infinite spirit. So I'll read it in parts. I am one with the infinite presence and power of God. Always receiving the warmth of divine love and the guidance of infinite spirit. Always receiving the warmth of divine love and the guidance of infinite spirit. Well, if you're really convinced, we're going to say it again, because I'm not convinced. We sound half-hearted, okay? So here goes. I am one with the presence and power of God. Always receiving the warmth of divine love. And the guidance of infinite spirit. And so it is. Yes, I am convinced that you are. You know, author Mary Manning Morrissey, and she's also a minister. You would have remembered her. She visited us some time ago. She has a power of prayer presentation. And she also defines prayer as the act of communion with God. And in this communion, she states that the thoughts we send out through our focused attention becomes our experience. And it is that focused attention that becomes our prayer. Morrissey also shares with us that before we become aware of the power of prayer in our spiritual mind healing treatment, we usually go through 4 stages, and I'm going to share those with you. She says, in the first stage, we want a God out there to do something in our life, and we tend to put this God far away and distant from us. In the second stage, we recognize that we do not come from a state of wanting to get this thing or that thing out there. In other words, we realize that nothing can happen for us which does not happen through us. In the third stage, as we are moving into a more mature thinking, we remind ourselves that there is no being out there that fulfills our needs, but that we have this guidance within ourselves. That is the still small voice. And in the fourth stage, we move into that birthing of our ideas. It brings us into something greater than that which has gone before. And so, friends, we are also told in Matthew 9 and verse 29, it is done unto you as you believe. This is another profound statement of truth that is key if we are to receive the answers to our prayers. The key is as we believe. It is not as we wish, or we ask, or what we want to happen. It is what we believe that becomes a reality in our experience. All you have to do is look at your own life experiences. Are you getting exactly what you expect to get? Your expectation is everything. And so we should therefore pray in the belief that we have already received. Stated in Isaiah 24, It says in Isaiah, I'm sorry, that's not 24, Isaiah 65, verse 24, it says, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they're yet speaking, I will hear." This biblical passage also reminds us that our request is already answered. When we ask from this belief, then we have no time to concern ourselves about the outcomes, as we know that the right outworking always takes place. However, if our prayer is one of partial belief, then there's only a tendency towards its answers. And if we fully doubt, then what answer will we get? You see, in dealing with mind, we are dealing with a force that we cannot fool. And we must learn to go directly within ourselves and speak to that presence that knows. So, it is worthwhile then to commune with spirit, to sense and feel it, but the approach to spirit must be direct through our own consciousness. We may consider this approach of the little boy who was kneeling beside his bed with his mother and grandmother and saying his bedtime prayers. "Dear God, bless mommy and daddy and all the family, and please give me a good night's sleep." Suddenly, he looked up and shouted, "And don't forget to give me a bicycle for my birthday." "There is no need to shout like that," said his mother. "God is not deaf." "No," said the little boy, "but grandma is." My friends, we may want to adopt that approach. However, Joel Goldsmith, spiritual teacher, author, and healer, in his book, The Heart of Mysticism, states, "Those who live and move and have their being in God consciousness, those who pray without ceasing, are the people who find that the Spirit of God descends upon them, and through this Spirit, they are able to heal, they are able to comfort the mourner, they are able to supply the hungry, and they are able to bring joy to the sorrowing." He goes on to state, "Wherever God is entertained in consciousness, there is where the Spirit of the Lord is." End of that quote. Friends, we are certain that there is an infinite intelligence in the universe to which we may tune in that will guide and direct us. If we want to be sure that our prayers are being answered affirmatively, then here are a few suggestions that would do us good to follow daily, and I'll share these with you. 1, approach our prayer work with diligence, careful and persistent effort. 2, affirm our unity with that consciousness that knows what to do and how to do it. 3, ask with the conviction that it is already done. And 4, accept and allow that feeling of accomplishment to permeate your entire being. Remember that you only get exactly what you expect. And as Reverend Michelle said in her talk last Sunday, thoughts held in mind, produce in kind. Hope I got your quote right, Rev. But so, may your prayers be answered in the fulfillment of your every need. And in closing, I'll leave you with this quote from Dr. Holmes' book on prayer. And it says, "Every day and every hour, we are meeting the eternal realities of life. And in such degree as we cooperate with these eternal realities in love, in peace, in wisdom, and in joy, believing and receiving, we are automatically blessed. Our prayers is answered even before it is uttered." Friends, end of that quote. As our founding minister, Dr. Elmer Lumsden, used to say, "Here endeth the lesson, now begins the practice." Namaste.
Thank you, Jennifer. Did you applause? I can never really hear it, you know. So let us do it so that Jennifer reminded us that the answer to the prayer is in the prayer. Not only the word spoken, but the one who is praying, right? So we need to remember that. And if she told us some wonderful stories that you can find on our YouTube channel. So if you want to hear all of this again, go to our YouTube channel. So thank you again, Jennifer. And now it's time for a musical item, which is Deandra Suku. I saw, okay. And here comes Deandra.
Feel free to help me with this one. Kind of high. When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened me, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
Thank you, Deandra. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you, Lauren, for the musical accompaniment. Let me thank Deandra once more because, you know, she wasn't available and she made herself available for this morning's service. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Always willing to support on Practitioner Sunday. Thank you for that. Wow. Whew. And so, friends, please join me in the prayer of Jamaica. And that's on the flyer, words on screen in your program. And please stand. Together, the radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life we set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is. Please remain standing for our second hymn selection on the flyer, and it's In the Twinkling of an Eye, and the words are on screen for those online.
In the twinkling of an eye, you can change the world you live in. Your world responds to your command at the moment it is given. In the twinkling of an eye, and your thought can change your day. Just make your selection and change your direction. It's all in the way you pray. In a moment, God replies to the prayer you now are using. The miracles of life depend on the thoughts of your own choosing. In a moment, God responds to a perfect faith in prayer. There's instant reaction, spontaneous action. Believe it and lo, it's there. In the twinkling of an eye, you can change the world around you. Your thoughts become the world you seek, and the loved ones that surround you. In the twinkling of an eye, you respond to how you pray. For God's love enfolds you, sustains and upholds you, right now on a bright new day.
Thank you. Let us do our love offering blessing. Would you take your love offering in your hands? And together we say the blessing on the envelope. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father, and so it is. And please join me in our closing affirmative prayer. Recognizing that there is only one presence, one power, one infinite intelligence that governs, guards, and guides. That presence is God, and we are one with it. And in this knowing, I speak this word for this Sunday morning celebration, one in which we have come together to open our consciousness in the knowing that our prayers are always answered, it is really up to us in the way that we pray. And so, friends, we know that in the twinkling of an eye, we can change the world that we live in. And so as we continue to celebrate today's experience, going through the remainder of this week, let us know that we are in charge of our own life experiences. And so as we leave from this place, we take that consciousness with us, knowing that all is well. We give thanks for the offerings that have come into the center this morning, for every person who has allowed himself to be a giver of time, of talent, of treasure. We know that they're abundantly blessed. And so we know that as we leave here this morning, we continue throughout the remainder of this week to simply let love be the way of our hearts and the hearts of our way. I know this to be the truth as I release this word to law, giving thanks that all this is already so. And so it is. And now we will sing, Yes, There is Peace on Earth.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes,
I invite you up.
Please feel free. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our God, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And friends, I will remind you to join us on Tuesday for Spiritual Mind Healing Service. Our speaker will be practitioner Carol Campbell, speaking on rattle, roll, and shake. So make sure you roll into shake, roll, and rattle. Whatever, they will come. They will all come. They will all come. It's all good. And of course, remember to also tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to the Quiet Moments in the Garden. Reverend John, join him on his Facebook page. And also remember, very special event happening this evening in the sanctuary at 5 p.m. Playing Peace and Love and Youth in the Garden. So if you don't have your tickets yet, you know I'll be at the door this evening, and I'll be selling tickets right after this morning's service, so you can see me right after I leave this podium. I'll just move into my next hat. So, well, we're looking forward to having you all share with us, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be worth your while. We have a little secret on the program. I'm not letting it out, so if you don't come, you won't hear it, because we're not streaming it, so be here at 5. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for being here.